What's going on, guys? We're back with another YouTube video. John Walker fanboys. I know y'all miss me. Come on, don't act like you didn't miss me.
You don't want your kind here! Damn! Oh my god. What are you doing over here, bro? I swear.
Anyhow, for my regular viewers today, I'm going to be responding to a video that recently came across my feed by some guy. Now, this is another person who hates Sam Wilson and believes that, John Walker did nothing wrong and the show treats him like a villain for no reason. Now, the issue surrounding this entire thing and what I've come to find is that there's a large chunk of Walker fans who kind of live in this deluded headspace where Marvel has some sort of vendetta against the character in Thunderbolts, and especially Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The thing is, this mindset in videos like this almost always hinge on just not understanding certain scenes, basically framing the entire show poorly, and also purposefully misconstruing certain elements of the show and strawmanning certain elements of the writing. And so the Walker fans who are probably gonna flood the ever-loving shit out of this video because they just cannot stand anyone who doesn't outright glaze this character for some reason, and so they're gonna drop 10-paragraph essays about how John is super relatable and he did what we would have done and that's why we love him and everything, and you're just a hater if you don't think he was right. Okay, there's a couple things we need to preface going into this. One, just because I don't blindly defend everything this dude does not make me a hater of the character. I actually like his character, but I'm also willing to call his actions for what it is and not do mental gymnastics to pretend he's a saint. I say this because Walker fans have a tendency to get overtly hostile and defensive and act like people are calling him the worst person on planet Earth for simply pointing out the mistake he made was indeed a mistake. Two, just because you can empathize with why he would do something does not make him in the right for doing it. There are plenty of characters throughout fiction who have flaws that you can empathize with without defending certain things they do in their story just because you like the character. And finally, no, John Walker was not meant to be a villain in the show. He's someone who had good intentions that made a mistake because he couldn't control himself. The actual villain of the show was the Flag Smashers and, to an extent, the government for putting him in that situation and setting him up to fail in the first place. Why would the writers put scenes like this in the show for someone they wanted you to hate? This logic makes literally no sense, especially since the director of the show flat out stated the intention was to like him by the end after the finale released, but Walker shills ignore this and act like everybody hates him because it fits their dumb narrative. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get into the video.
But today, I wanted to talk about John Walker and go over some scenes that were poorly written and also some other stuff. We first see John Walker in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, and since Sam gave up the shield, remember that, he gave up the shield willingly, the role of Captain America fell onto the GOAT, John Walker. And in his interview, we learned that he received 3 Medals of Honor. Damn! 3 fucking Medals of Honor, which is basically impossible. This dude is the man. And the government did a study of his body at MIT, and he tested off the charts in every measurable category, including speed, endurance, and intelligence.
And you tested off the charts in every measurable category.
He's basically the closest thing to a super soldier that a regular human could possibly be. Because remember, this is pre-serum, so this is nuts. And he's humble about it. He says he's not anything special, he's just a man with guts and a man who wants to do good. And he wants to do right by Captain America. You literally could not ask for a better Captain America. But Bucky and Sam spend the rest of the show being stupidly salty at John for simply accepting the role of being Captain America by the government after Sam willingly gave up the shield. I can't make this shit up.
John Walker fans not paying attention to the media they consume will never not get old. Sam did give up the shield, but he was doing that because he was retiring the mantle. The reason he is upset is because the shield was supposed to stay in the museum. The whole intent of that speech is that he was letting Steve's legacy rest. The government knew this and acted like they were going to keep that promise in front of his face, only to completely backstab him and give it to someone else without them knowing. And let's clear something up, because I'm getting really sick of people saying that Sam and Bucky were salty at John the whole show, when this literally isn't true, and this is generalizing all of their interactions. The only person of the two who was directly hostile at John for most of the show was Bucky. Yes, Sam was initially put off by the news, but even when we observe the conversation after Sam sees the news, he's not really focused on getting the shield back, or on John. His focus is explicitly on finding the Flag Smashers. It's Bucky who's obsessed with the shield.
You shouldn't have given up the shield.
Good to see you too, Buck. This is wrong. Hey, look, I'm working, all right? So all this outrage is gonna have to wait.
Didn't know that was gonna happen?
No, of course I didn't know that was gonna happen.
This isn't what Steve wanted.
Oh my God, so what do you want me to do? Call America and tell them I changed my mind? Yeah, right. It's a great reunion, buddy. Be well.
You had a right to give up the shield, Sam.
That's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna come here in your overextended life and tell me about my rights. It's over, Bucky. It's over, Bucky. It's It's over, Bucky. 'Cause I have bigger things to deal with now.
What could be bigger than this?
So Bucky gets out the car while they're trying to play shit out, and Sam at least stayed and tried to hear the guy out even though he disagreed with him. And even in the next clip you show, Sam was not even being hostile towards Walker. Bucky was being a jerk, but Sam actually acknowledges Walker and tells Bucky to cool off being salty towards him.
Where's she now, Walker? Do you know?
No, we don't know, Bucky.
Things are really intense for you, aren't they, Walker?
Take it easy, look, Walker's right. Take it easy, look, Walker's right. Take it easy, look, Walker's right. It is imperative that we find them and stop them. You guys have rules of engagement and all kind of authorizations you have to get. We're free agents. We're more flexible. Wouldn't make sense for us to work with you.
Sam also tried to help John out by warning him not to mess with the Dormolange, told Bucky to step in and help him when Ayo was about to kill him, and even got his ass beat defending John himself. So no, they, or at least Sam, did not spend the show, quote unquote, stupidly salty at John. It was just Bucky. And if you paid attention, they actually explained in episode 3 that Bucky's hostility towards Walker was him essentially projecting his own insecurity and what Steve wanted.
Why'd you give up that shield?
Why are you making such a big deal out of something that has nothing to do with you?
It was nothing.
So
Maybe he was wrong about you, and if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
Bucky's behavior is intentionally irrational. That's not bad writing, that's good writing. And this is where we kind of have to establish subjectivity versus objectivity. It's one thing simply disliking Bucky's behavior from a subjective, opinionated standpoint. It's another thing making an objective statement and saying the show is badly written because you dislike or even have an opinion on his behavior, which is a non-argument. Just because you may personally dislike how characters react in certain situations does not mean the show itself is badly written. Fans in general tend to do this thing where they project poor writing onto something that they just don't like, when you don't have to agree with everything a character does or says for a show to be good. When you look at it from Bucky's perspective, his behavior does make sense. Bucky has a ton of unresolved mental problems, and he's not exactly known for being the best social person and getting along with everybody he meets. Hell, him and Sam were beefing for a minute throughout the movies, and in this show they barely get along till the end.
Then later on, Bucky and Sam are getting stomped out by a super soldier terrorist group known as the Flag Smashers. John and his partner, who's basically his brother, Lamar, roll up to help. And just look at this. Boom! Sit down, you dweeb. John, the normal human being, holding it down against a bunch of juiced up super soldiers. The ginger chick teep kicks Lamar off the truck, but John throws the shield under him to save his life. Then hops up on the truck and tries to solo a bunch of super soldiers. It doesn't go well, but that's what I'm talking about, baby. John Walker is just on go mode at all times, doesn't matter who it is. After this happens, John tries telling Bucky and Sam that they should work together to bring down the Flag Smashers. Pretty solid idea. But Bucky and Sam are still moping around like a couple of dorks because they're mad that John is the new Captain America.
All right, well then we gotta work together.
That's not happening. You ever jump on top of a grenade?
Yeah.
What the f does that have to do with anything? He has 3 goddamn medals of honor, and he's a regular human being. He's earned the right to be Captain America.
Bro, the whole point of the show was that the medals don't matter. Being Captain America is more than medals. Now, obviously, the fact that he has 3 medals of honor are quote-unquote impressive, and that this makes him a qualifying soldier, but the point has been made throughout the entirety of the MCU is what qualifies you as a good soldier is completely different from what qualifies you as a good man. If we're just going off of what qualifies as a good soldier, Steve would not have been chosen to be Cap to begin with.
Look at that. He's making me cry. Much past every test we gave him. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders, he's a soldier.
I'm looking for qualities beyond the physical.
I briefly want to talk about the 3 medals of honor talking point because that keeps being brought up in these videos. Because yes, 3 medals of honor is a good look to be Cap on paper, but it's explicitly told to you during John's conversation with Lamar that he was ashamed of the things he had to do to get them.
Both know that the things that we had to do in Afghanistan to be awarded those medals felt a long way from being right.
And to briefly expand on this point, let's take a small look at history. If you guys remember John Walker's origin story, he's a US veteran of the Afghanistan conflict, and there are numerous reports of US soldiers in Afghanistan doing some pretty shady operations over there under government direction. And if we take another look in US history, there were various times where American soldiers were awarded medals of honor for doing, well, let's just say not so honorable things. A key example of this is the Wounded Knee massacre that took place in 1890, where a US military unit under the authority of the US government killed hundreds of unarmed Native American men, women, and children. Catch here is that 20 of the soldiers in his unit who carried out this task received medals of honor for it, for displaying bravery and courage. Now, this is not to say John did something similar to this. We don't exactly know what him and Lamar did that makes him ashamed of that day. I am using this to say that military accolades is not an indicator of someone who should be Captain America. As it's been demonstrated throughout multiple times in the MCU, being Cap means prioritizing being a good man over a good soldier. There are things that soldiers like Walker would do to appease the government that Steve and Sam themselves wouldn't. We've seen this play out multiple times throughout the Cap movies and the Avengers movies in the MCU. Being a good Cap transcends military accolades. John literally throws these medals away at the end of the show to save the people in the van, which is funnily enough the most Captain America-esque thing he did in the show, and this was done on purpose.
We learn that the Flag Smasher's goal is to get things back to the way they were during the blip. How do they do that? By injuring and killing innocent civilians, and they're led by this insufferable, annoying ginger chick Carly who tries to justify the killing and harming of innocent civilians by saying it's for a better cause. She literally blows up a van right next to a building, and 11 innocent people were injured and 2 were killed, one being a father of 2. And she wants to talk about, it's the only language these people understand.
This is the only language these people understand.
Fuck you.
Wow, it's almost like she's the villain.
And the best thing is, this show tries to make you care about her and see John as the bad guy. It's wild.
The show kills off Carly and redeems John by the end. Pretty sure the whole point was that John deep down was a good guy, just not meant to be Captain America. And it kind of goes to show like how a lot of these Walker fans phrase this like, oh, they try to make Carly seem good and John seem bad. It's just like, bro, Carly and John are both complicated characters that are like way more complex than black and white. It's just like they don't understand nuanced characters. It's crazy.
In episode 4, John finds Bucky and Sam, and after they learn of Carly's location, John rightfully wants to bring her in, but Sam says no, he wants to reason with her.
I think we're way past reasoning with her, unless you forgot the fact that she blew up a building with people still in it.
Thank you, John, the only one using your head here. Why the f do we need to reason with her? You can reason with her when she's sitting behind bars.
Okay, so this is a straw man because he's falsely arguing that Sam doesn't want to bring her in. When he does, that's not what's being argued. Sam believes he can reason with her because she's emotionally vulnerable at this point. Keep in mind, earlier in the show, they already tried taking them on in a physical fight and they failed. John's flaw here is trying to use violence in a situation that's not needed. Sam is not opposed to stopping them. The issue is that they are in a highly concentrated area with civilians. He literally says if a fight ensues and the operation gets out of control, people could die. That's why he wants to try and talk to her first. It's been proven time and time again that Steve and Sam will get people to try to do the right thing if they have the chance. Hell, Steve reasoned with Pietro and Wanda and sympathized with them during a time where they were working for a whole terrorist organization.
Miles says they volunteered for Strucker's experiments. It's nuts.
Right. What kind of monster would let a German scientist experiment on them to protect their country?
We're not at war, Captain.
They are.
So there's literally no inconsistency with this, especially since it almost worked.
But John is a solid dude. He gives Sam 10 minutes, which he shouldn't have even done that. But after that 10 minutes, he goes in to arrest her and she assaults him and runs away.
You might need to rewatch that scene again, bro, because it was not after the 10 minutes. In fact, the 10 minutes weren't even up yet. John stormed in and went back on what he said because his arrogance clouded his judgment, while we saw that what Sam was doing was clearly working.
No. This is a bad idea.
It hasn't been 10 minutes, John, just a tight.
Agree with your fight. I just can't get with the way you're fighting it. And I'm sure she wouldn't either.
Carly Morgenthau, you're under arrest.
This is what that was.
No, Carly,
Tricking
wait.
me until your backup arrived.
No, I think we had enough time to talk.
You were not simple.
It's heavily implied here that if John hadn't gone back on what he said, Sam would have gotten Carly to come in peacefully, the plot would have resolved itself, and Lamar wouldn't have died later. So yeah, thank John for making the situation 10 times worse than it needed to be.
Later on, Walker breaks in and tells Sam to turn over Zemo. And as he's doing this, the Dora Milaje throw a spear at his head. They came here for Zemo. And John, being the solid dude he is, tries to de-escalate the situation.
Oh yes, the solid dude who just kicked the fucking door down and was about to start a fight with Sam for no reason when he was just trying to talk to him. Yeah, solid dude, alright. So solid that not even Lamar, his own partner, approved of what he was about to do at this point.
How do you want the rest of this conversation to go, Sam? Huh? Yeah. Should I put down the shield? Make it fair?
Oh, but, you know, they don't care about that, though.
And tells them that they don't have jurisdiction here.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
That's right, I forgot the door Melage can just roll up to anywhere, whenever they want, and do whatever they want. Because, well, just because.
John literally just did the exact same thing they did 2 seconds ago. This is kind of what I mean, like when it comes to Walker fans, you're just kind of missing the point of this whole scene. Like the whole thing here is that Walker is basically being a hypocrite because he's lecturing Ayo for like mandates and jurisdiction when he literally broke the government mandate and came here without them knowing. So he doesn't have jurisdiction here either.
I'm just gonna run with this one for a minute.
Take what happens next isn't a strictly on the books type of thing, is it, Cap?
Or if we get the job done, do you really think they're gonna sweat us on the how?
The reality is neither of them have jurisdiction here. This whole jurisdiction thing is just a dick measuring contest between two egos. That's kind of why John's attempt at de-escalation is failing, because he's not really trying to like reason with them in the traditional sense. He's just trying to assert himself above everyone else in the room. And it's so weird how Walker fans constantly say, oh, they tried to kill John with a spear. That wasn't right. So wrong. It was badly written. It's like, no. The Dora Milaje clearly weren't supposed to be in the right here. They violate John, violate Bucky, and violate Sam. This wasn't meant to be a good guy moment from them. After all, they're not traditional heroes. They're warriors. Dora Milaje almost laid hands on Black Widow in Civil War just for being in their walking path and nearly killed a high-profile FBI agent for thumping their king on the shoulder. This is very consistent with how they've been portrayed in the past. Does that make them right? No. But it is in character. And remember what I told you guys, it's in character, which means it's not badly written, even if you may not like how they reacted.
John's like, alright, just chill, and this chick smacks him around and kicks him into next week, and then goes for a kill shot, but luckily he blocks it. At this moment, he has every right to take out his pistol and Swiss cheese the fuck out of all of them. He has literally done nothing wrong, except for trying to do his job.
So again, the wrong principles are being applied here. It's not his intention or what he was trying to do that was the issue, it was how he went about it. We have to kind of use our common sense here, right? If 3 highly trained Royal Guards people, roughly the equivalent of the Secret Service, walked in to apprehend someone who killed their king, the absolute last thing you would want to do is insult their culture by calling their weapons pointy sticks and then violate their cultural boundaries by touching them. The Dora Milaje were 100% not in the right here. At the same time, Walker did not help the situation and made it 10 times worse. 2 things can be true at once.
But he decides to just throw hands, and the highly trained, literal peak human with a vibranium shield is getting whooped by a also highly trained, but lightweight chick with a spear.
A spear that's also made of vibranium. Like, you do watch the Black Panther movies, right? Because if you did, you know this.
Lamar, who is also highly trained, can't do anything.
Bullshit!
The Dora Milaje are not enhanced. There is no reason that walkers should not be sleeping each and every one of them with one juicer to the lips.
You're right, they're not enhanced. Just some of the most fiercely trained warriors on the planet who are assigned to protect an enhanced individual, which I'd argue puts them well above most humans on Earth in terms of combat prowess, but you are right, they're not enhanced.
I understand that the Dora Milaje are highly trained. I don't care.
I mean, you heard it here, guys. He doesn't care. He boosts John by saying he's highly trained, but now all of a sudden doesn't care that the Dora Milaje are also highly trained. They've literally fought aliens before, and they also have vibranium coated armor on and vibranium spears that counter John's vibranium shield. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't care, so I guess that's that.
The best female UFC fighter gets wrecked by an unranked male UFC fighter. That's just the truth. Even Jorge Masvidal says this.
What?
They even start clapping up Bucky and Sam, which is just ridiculous.
My brother, what in the world does this have to do with the UFC? This is not the real world, and this is not a fighting ring. You do realize this is the same universe as the Black Widow program, of which we've seen female characters go toe-to-toe with multiple trained soldiers at once and win. Why is it now unbelievable that the Dora Milaje can't do the same thing? Again, we've seen them do this before. And they have vibranium. And yes, while it is true that Sam and Bucky are capable, Sam is nowhere as skilled fighting wise as the Dora Milaje, and Bucky is clearly holding back here because he's only trying to de-escalate. Not to mention, the Dora Milaje had a kill switch on his arm, which means they were already anticipating a fight with him. That Batman prep time went crazy.
The only reason they do this is for one, to show off how badass these chicks are, but also to make John think that he's a scrub, so he takes the serum that he found earlier.
They weren't even super soldier.
Now, this would have been fine if it was at least competitive, but when 3 chicks absolutely destroy 4 highly trained soldiers, one being a super soldier, it's kind of ridiculous. Also, I'm willing to bet that Walker is at least a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt with wrestling experience, so the fact that he can't take them down and lock up any sort of submission is wild because I can pretty much guarantee that Dora Milaje did not train Jiu-Jitsu. I'm just saying.
Okay, first off, they are trained in multiple martial arts, so that wouldn't matter. Second, again, this isn't a UFC ring. Jiu-Jitsu, in fact, is pretty much useless here because they have spears. Like, being on the ground, even if it's for defensive purposes, is probably the worst place you want to be in a fight like this because it leaves you pretty vulnerable to being stabbed. Fun fact, it's one of the reasons why Jiu-Jitsu, even though it's popular in MMA, generally isn't recommended for street fights.
Anyways, the next time Walker comes to fight, he's juiced up on that serum. This is a kill shot. If Walker doesn't move, he's toast. And the Flag Smashers talked about it earlier, their goal is to kill Walker now. So he can and should be Swiss cheesing every one of these terrorists. He sends this guy flying through the air and finds Sam. They head downstairs and they start scrapping with a bunch of Flag Smashers. Walker starts beating the shit out of everyone, but eventually one of them holds him in place. He could probably just super jump out of this, but whatever. Carly then goes for the kill shot, but Lamar comes in and saves him. She then punches him into a stone pillar and he dies. So rightfully so, John chases after the dude who held him down and packs him up with the shield.
Good riddance.
Oh no, he killed a super terrorist who has aided in killing and injuring multiple innocent people, including John's best friend Lamar, and he got packed up.
Gonna cry?
I see nothing wrong here. But they make this a big deal and act like no hero ever killed anyone, and now the shield is stained with blood. And there are actually fans who don't like John because he killed someone, because Steve Rogers would have never done that. I guess we're just gonna act like Steve wasn't putting people in the dirt for good. He was using the shield while mowing down a bunch of people. You think everyone in this tank is just getting knocked out from this? You think this guy survived this fall? You think this guy survived this shit? His chest is now caved in, and if he did survive, then he drowned. You think this guy didn't die of blunt force trauma? Where the fuck did people get this idea that Cap never killed?
This is a common strawman used by John Walker fanboys where they intentionally misconstrue the point the show is making. Captain America has killed before. That's not the issue. Cap has killed terrorists before. That's not the issue. People are not mad at John because he killed a terrorist. They are mad at him because he killed him while he had his hands up and on the ground. Cap kills people, but he does it out of duty or to protect other people. It's one thing killing when it's an active combat situation or when it's your life or theirs, like in wartime during the first Avenger or the various combat situations that we see him in throughout the movies. It's completely different when the guy is on the ground, signaling he's no longer a threat, pleading for his life, and you kill him anyway. That's a literal war crime, and Cap has never executed anyone when they were giving up. Walker fans seem to think that the scene was framed unfairly, but if you notice throughout the MCU, whenever one of the Avengers tries to kill someone and it's not justified in some way, it's always framed as negative. It's the reason why, despite the fact that the Avengers do kill, Tony trying to off Bucky was framed as bad. We know why he would go after Bucky, but at the end of the day, he knew he was under mind control and tried to kill him when he wasn't a threat. Hawkeye doing what he did in Endgame and killing a surrendering criminal was framed as bad because he was killing out of vengeance and not to protect others. Thor decapitating Thanos when he wasn't a threat. Yeah, that was bad because that was clearly meant to be a low moment where Thor let his rage get the better of him. John's kill is framed to be wrong for this exact same reason. John did not need to kill Nico. He did initially resist and get up a couple times, but he did put his hands up and give up. Now, let's briefly go over some of the defenses that Walker fans are inevitably going to put in the comment section. No, his hands were not up to shield himself from damage like Tony in Civil War. As you can see, the positions are almost absurdly different. Tony's arms are crossed and he's clearly shielding his face while Steve is hitting him with the shield. Here, Nico's hands are up and spread apart when John isn't even hitting him at this point. His shield was at his side, and Nico's hands stay like this up until John executes him. So he was absolutely signaling he wasn't a threat anymore. No, just because he did not physically say "I surrender" does not mean he wasn't surrendering. Per military training, surrendering is not inherently verbal. Soldiers get trained on what verbal and nonverbal surrenders look like in various combat scenarios. You can look up footage online and see military units recognizing body language as a surrender without them having to say it. John absolutely knew Nico was giving up when he killed him. And for the people who say super soldiers can't surrender, well, unfortunately the MCU has already shown that to be possible many times, including the show. If we're going by Walker logic, Rhodey should have shot T'Challa in the head when he was surrendering in Civil War because he has powers and still could have been a threat, which obviously makes no fucking sense and would be an abuse of authority. Decapitating someone while he's begging in front of crowds of people and spreading fear across a foreign country is literally something that a terrorist would do. Cap is supposed to be better than the terrorists. It's okay when John was using his gun against the terrorists in the truck fight because it was an active combat situation. None of them gave up or stopped fighting. If John had killed them there or during the Moss fight where the Flag Smashers were actually trying to kill him like the Avengers usually do, no one would have cared. The thing is, if someone is surrendering as Cap, you spare them. That's just a no-brainer. So even though you can understand his motive, he lost his best friend, Walker ultimately wasn't justified for it. Same way Clint wasn't, and same way Thor wasn't when he did it.
What about when Iron Man rolled up and smoked a bunch of terrorists?
Again, it's not terrorists being killed that's the problem, it's how and why you do it. Here, it's justified because Iron Man's killing them to save other people. And it's clear that they were gonna kill them if Tony didn't do something, so it's justified.
Or in Iron Man 3 when he blew a hole through that dude and packed him up.
These guys hijacked a plane full of people, so not only was he an imminent threat, but it was also self-defense. He didn't give up or stop fighting, and he was literally gonna kill him unless Tony did that, so it's justified.
Sam Wilson, in the first episode of this show, was murking people.
This was an active war zone, and these were mercenaries who hijacked a plane and put other people in danger and took them hostage. Not to mention they were shooting at him. So yeah, it's justified.
But yeah, Walker's a disgusting, unforgivable monster. I can't believe he killed a completely innocent, murdering terrorist.
I am aware that there are some people out there that hate every fiber of his being, but let's not generalize every Marvel fan. Most people are not saying he is an unforgivable monster, just that he was a bad Captain America. That's not the same thing as saying he's the worst person on planet Earth. That's not people saying he can't be a hero in his own way. That's just people acknowledging a fact. I'm not sure why Walker fans get so triggered and completely exaggerate what people are saying when this gets pointed out, because he is a bad Captain America. Or, I'm sorry, he was a bad Captain America, because he's not Cap anymore.
Damn!
They even run with this narrative in Thunderbolts.
Before you publicly murdered an innocent man on the street.
Are you serious? Murdered an innocent man.
It's wild.
Okay. Context is important here. Ghost was not there. She does not know every single detail of what happened. She just knows what the media put out. The media thinks that Walker just killed some random innocent dude in the street for no reason. That's why Walker's define innocent line was put in there, because we as the audience know that Nico was not innocent. She does not know what we know.
I'd argue that Sam and Bucky killed more people by not stopping the Flag Smashers when they had the chance, but that's just my opinion.
Bro, every time Sam and Bucky got close to stopping them, John got in the way and botched it. As said before, if John hadn't went back on what he said and didn't intervene with Sam, he would have gotten Carly to back down and Lamar's wouldn't have died later. John is not going to let you fuck him. He's a grown-ass man. Stop trying to absolve him of responsibility for his actions.
But this gets better. While Walker is grieving the loss of his best friend and reflecting on what he just did, Bucky and Sam pull up and tell him to give up the shield, and they instigate a fight. And Walker starts beating their asses.
They did not instigate anything. They don't even antagonize him. Sam and Bucky literally try to talk him down, and John is not budging.
Know what I had to do. I killed him because I had to. He killed Lamar!
You didn't kill Lamar, John. Don't go down that road. Believe me, it doesn't end well.
I'm not like you. Listen, it was the heat of the battle, okay? If you explain what happened, they may consider your record. I don't want anyone else to get hurt. You gotta give me the shield, man.
Now, again, Bucky is the one who initiates the fight when it's clear John isn't gonna stand down. This dude is mentally unstable, just executed someone with the shield moments prior, and was about to go back outside when Sam and Bucky showed up. So yeah, they had to take it from him. It was way too dangerous to let him keep it in his current mental state. Sam tried to offer counsel and John refused. Hell, Sam still tries to talk him down throughout the fight. And if you notice, there's an interesting hypocrisy from Walker fans that I caught. Their logic for justifying John killing Nico while he was surrendering is that he aided and abetted in a crime killing someone, so he deserved it. But when you flip the other coin and we get to Bucky and Sam taking the shield from John minutes after he commits a literal war crime on live TV by decapitating someone, now all of a sudden violence isn't okay, and Sam and Bucky had no right to disarm him. And that's after they tried talking with him. The meat writing is absolutely insane.
John even goes out of his way to apologize to Lamar's parents for not being able to protect him, and I feel like this justifies him packing up that Flag Smasher dude even more.
No, it does not, especially since he didn't even tell them the full truth about what happened. I can actually admire him in a way for going out of his way to at least apologize to Lamar's family, but he also lies to them when he says he got the guy who killed him when he didn't. The lie is actually a way to try and justify a kill to himself, even though he knows what he did was wrong. Even one of the family members picked up on this and the fact that he was not telling the full truth about what happened in the scene.
But in the last episode, Walker comes back to take out Carly himself, and he's down to scrap solo dolo against like 5 super soldiers, and he's actually beating their asses. This is why John Walker is the GOAT. But then he starts hunting down Carly, trying to end her because he's the only smart one here. But the scrawny chick, with nowhere near as much training as Walker, somehow gets the best of him. Walker was literally the definition of a peak human being and highly trained before the serum. And this was a scrawny, probably untrained or very little trained younger girl who then got the serum. How was this even a competition?
No, if you actually watch the show, you know she was indeed trained in fighting by Sharon Carter. That's why she can fight so well. She used to work for her. And even then, if you actually watch the fight, John was actually dominating for most of it. Carly really only wins because she uses her environment to her advantage, whereas Walker, he's clearly fighting out of rage. He's not really using technique like Carly is here, just kind of taking hard swings and hoping something lands.
But after getting knocked down, he gets up and he could go after her, but instead he tries saving the hostages in this armored truck by himself while fighting off a bunch of super soldiers.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Yeah, he was the GOAT here. This was meant to be a moment of redemption for him. So it's so weird how Walker fans will look at this and still say the show tried to vilify him. I'm just like, does bro know? He was never meant to be a villain. Walker has historically been an anti-hero throughout Marvel history. Not someone who is completely perfect, but not completely evil either.
And then in Thunderbolts, he wasn't too bad. They made him kind of an asshole for no reason, which doesn't really line up with who he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
He's more of an asshole in this movie because his wife and kid left him, not for no reason. It also doesn't help that his reputation is basically ruined after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So it's like, of course he's not going to be the happiest dude in the world. Not to mention, if we go back to Lamar's conversation, he says the super soldier serum just makes you more of what's already there. They didn't just make him into an asshole, more so he was developed into one over time.
He was also at times just a dumbass, which is weird because before the serum, he tested off the charts in intelligence.
My guy, he was the one who came up with the plan that got them all out of the incinerator.
Tried that already.
I know she did, but we haven't tried shutting down the sound barrier.
We built it just for her. There's got to be an independent power source.
You're laughing. Well, that works.
Not only that, but he constantly proves feats of beating people up and also protects Bucky from Sentry numerous times throughout their fight. No, he was not an incompetent dumbass in this movie.
But it wasn't over the top, I guess. He did somehow get taken down by Elena, who's highly trained but not a super soldier, but I'll let it slide because other than that, he beats her ass. He also spanks Taskmaster with ease and destroys a whole army of armed soldiers off screen by himself. So he was pretty solid. The only real loss he has is when he got spanked by Bob, but literally nothing anybody could do there. He also saved a lady from a big ass wall from falling on her, so he was definitely written better in this, but it's blatantly obvious the writers trashed him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier to elevate the other characters around him like Carly, Bucky and Sam, and the Dora Milaje. I know it sounds like a meat writing,
you are,
but when the show says he's a highly trained, literal peak human, and then have him look like a scrub and lose before and after taking the serum, it's like, alright buddy, come on.
What the fuck are you talking about? You literally just played scenes of him doing solid feats and not losing.
He did somehow get taken down by Elena, who's highly trained but not a super soldier, but I'll let it slide because other than that, he beats her ass. He also spanks Taskmaster with ease and destroys a whole army of armed soldiers off screen by himself. He also saved a lady from a big ass wall from falling on her, so he was definitely written better in this.
Anyways guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Walker fans continuing to be in denial as usual. Let me know what you guys think. If you like what you see, be sure to like the video, share, comment on the video. I expect to see a lot of fragility from Walker fangirls in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.